You know, one of the most difficult positions to be in is when you feel like, as a woman, that the man you were dating or you were with ends up choosing another woman over you. Okay? And it can be extremely hurtful. It can be discouraging. Sometimes it can feel depressing. All right? And it's just a lot to take in because, you know, there's so many things that run through your head like, well, what made her better? What does she do that I don't do? What does she have that I don't have? You know, there's just a lot of frustration and sometimes feeling of inadequacy when this happens. Now, I want to make clear right now that sometimes, many times, being chosen or having someone being chosen over you isn't this automatic reflection of you not being good enough or you not possessing value. You got to remember that a lot of men are not built to see and embrace your value because they're not the guy for you. And in many of these situations, though it feels hurtful, especially because in some ways you may feel like this woman like beat you, so to speak. I don't want you to think that way, but sometimes that's what happens. That's how you feel, right? It can be a tough pill to swallow, but it is not, again, I have to say again, it's not a reflection of your value. There may be so many other reasons going on as to why this happens. So it's important that we do not internalize these types of situations and we don't allow it to push us into this negative place where we question our own value and we now struggle with our self-worth, all right? We've got to look past that and understand that there is more for us to focus our energy on, so to speak. But getting back to breaking this whole thing down of, you know, when a man does choose another woman over you, I want to shed light on it, why it happens, what's actually going on, okay? And so here's one that actually wasn't even on my list, but I swear to you, it's hitting my spirit. I know I always say this, but it's hitting my spirit right now. So we're going to kick it off with this one. Sometimes he chooses another woman over you because he feels less vulnerable with the other woman. So here's the thing. You know, I'm always talking about connection and I'm always talking about healing. And the unfortunate reality is that a lot of people, and let's just focus on men for right now, a lot of men haven't healed. A lot of men have had their heart broken, whether many women realize that or not, a lot of men have had their heart broken. A ridiculous amount of men have had their heart broken. I eventually plan to bring you guys the stories so you can hear them, so you can understand what's going on. I digress. The point is, it's happening. They have not healed from those situations. And what happens to individuals when they have not healed is a fear of being vulnerable, okay? A fear of finding themselves in a position where they will be devastated like they were last time if things don't work out here. It's almost like my heart can only handle so much, so I will only go where I don't have to expose much of my heart. So you'll have these scenarios where sometimes a man could be very much in love or view a woman as this is the one, but be terrified of the idea of being with her. All right? And will then choose another woman that it's easier emotionally to deal with. Again, I've spoken about this on the reverse side of women doing this because women do this as well. It's a people thing. If I'm honest, I will say it happens more with women than men, but it does happen with men. But the bottom line is, yes, they run from where they feel this higher level of vulnerability, this higher level of love, and go to something that is lower level because it's easier there. So when you hear me say things like the safe choice is almost always the wrong choice, this is what I mean by safe. I don't mean safe as in the good safe and secure where I can be at peace. No, I mean safe as in I don't have to put my heart out on the table here. I don't have to be worried about my heart being crushed because look at it like this. The person you love most can hurt you the worst. All right. So it's like, and I'll give you an example from a woman's side. If you as a woman are dating a man and you think he's cool and everything, but you don't really like him like that. But you might give this a chance and see where it can go. And let's just say he forgets your birthday. Now, some of y'all gonna be mad regardless because you don't like any man forgetting your damn birthday. But I'm saying, because it's him, you may be annoyed, you may be a little salty about it, but it doesn't hurt because you're not really into him like that. But if it's the guy that you are madly in love with and you're just so into and you feel so vulnerable with, and this man forgets your birthday, it hits and hurts in a way that the other guy, it doesn't affect you with the other guys. All right? So this is how people are operating, or this is their concern. It's like, I don't want to be with that person who I feel for the most because they can hurt me the most. And if my perception of the opposite sex, so in this scenario, a man viewing women, is I can't trust women. Women will always hurt you. There's this saying going around where she's not yours, it's just your turn. Very toxic mindset, but that's how a lot of men think. It's like, yo, this is just temporary. She gonna leave you the first chance she get, or when she sees a better opportunity. If that's the mindset, then their willingness to be with a woman they are in love with is like eliminated. And now they will only choose someone that they can maintain a level of emotional control with. So sometimes, and I feel the need to also mention this. This is why in some situations, well, it's a little bit different. So I was going to mention how sometimes you'll see men and women break up who do love each other, but something went wrong. And then so the woman sees that the man has moved on very fast. And we'll be like, oh, well, because he moved on very fast, he must not love me. And it's like, no. He's moving on fast to try to cope and distract himself from how much he actually does love you and how much he's hurting because you guys broke up. His surface actions are not telling the full story, what's going on beneath it. So don't get caught up in what you see. But that's kind of a different type of scenario than this idea of just running from the woman that he feels most vulnerable with and running to a woman that he doesn't have to expose so much of himself with. All right, so let's keep this going. Another real reason why a man chooses one woman over another is because the other woman lets him get away with more nonsense. Plain and simple. The unfortunate reality is that there's going to be some situations where, and this is a perfect example of, it's a blessing that this man left you or, chose to break up with you and go be with someone else, because he was looking for a situation where he can do the least and receive the most. So you have these scenarios where the man is not treating you the way you need to be treated, not pouring into you the way that you need, but you are giving to him. The thing is, in addition to your giving, you're still not happy. And in you not being happy, you may be what he considers nagging him, stressing him out. You always want to talk about your feelings and all this stuff, which you should talk about them. But to him, he will paint this as a very negative thing. So to him, it's all about you're doing too much. You're stressing me out. So now he eventually meets some other woman who is willing to give the same things you're willing to give, but keep her mouth shut. She's not going to question why he's out late. She's not going to want to talk about what are we to each other or whatever issues that she has. She's just going to go along with it and suck it up and give him what he wants. Now, here's the reality. I want to say it's extremely rare. I want to say it never happens. I'm just going to say, for the sake of being open, it's extremely rare that a woman can go on forever not getting the treatment that she deserves and just go along with it and not say nothing. All right. So even though he moves on to another woman because she is letting him get away with more nonsense, well, there's an expiration date on that. And he will just keep moving on to the next woman and the next woman and the next woman. He will use up as much as he can in the current situation. And then once that hits its boiling point, so to speak, he will move on to the next. Either way, You've got to understand that if he was not treating you the way that you deserved, good riddance. Plain and simple. You should not be stressing over the fact that he's now moved on to some other woman. Also, here's something that's extremely important, and this applies to any of the points I'm going to make in this video. It is very easy, and I've seen this happen tons of times, it's very easy to sometimes lose sight of what this man really means to you and slide into a competition with the other woman. So let's use this dynamic. He was not treating you right, all this stuff. You were doing so much for him, right? But you were expressing your concerns and your issues. He now wants to move on to this next woman because she accepts more of his nonsense. You getting caught up in a battle with this woman because like, well, why is he going to her? What has she got that I don't? Not understanding it's just that she accepts his nonsense. You now fight to get this, I was going to say trash, this man who ain't worth your time back because you want to show her that she can't take that man from you. You're trying to beat her. You see what I'm saying? You're trying to outdo her. And it's like, yo, I've seen literally get caught in this battle between each other for years. And the man's treating them both like poorly. It's unfortunate. It's sad, but that's why I'm warning you about it. And if you are in it right now, I'm hoping this wakes you up because it is not worth your time. It is robbing you of your peace. And even if you win that man back, what did you win? More mistreatment? More unhappiness? More being miserable? It's not worth it. So when this is the case, let him go. Let him move on. You are better off without him. All right, so here's another one. And I was a little hesitant to mention this one because I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings, okay? But at the same time, I want to be honest and I want to be real about what happens, okay? So please understand, I say this with a loving heart and with loving intention to just be clear. Another reason why a man chooses another woman over the other is because he has become more attracted to the other woman than his current, okay? So here's the thing. In most cases that I have seen, it's not a scenario of he let's say you're the woman, he meets you, he's in a relationship with you or whatever, or he's even dating you, because sometimes this can happen while in the dating phase, right? And actually, no, I was going to say, so if he's already in a relationship with you, most cases that I've seen, it's not a man just leaves the woman that he's in a relationship with and the relationship has been good just because he's more attracted to somebody else. It can happen. It does happen, but that's typically not the case. Okay. Because it's like, once we have something established here and that means he was attracted to you, he's usually good. What happens is if you deviate from how you look when you guys first got together, then yes, then it's a different ball game. So to just be straightforward about it, he gets with the woman. They've been together 2 years. After 2 years, let's call it what it is, she puts on a lot of excess weight, all right? And it's kind of weight that does not look good on her, okay? Does not look good on her to him at the very least. And it's a weight that she is not trying to remove either. I think that's a key point to make. Because it's one thing to say, okay, she put on some weight for various reasons, but she's working on getting it off. Versus she's like, nah, it is what it is. It's who I am. In that scenario, yes. And then he meets someone more attractive. That has happened many times, bottom line. All right. So that can be one of the reasons why. Now, I've also seen this play out in just the dating process, meaning guy meets you, he's talking to you, everything seems to be going great. You guys have not become official yet. Another woman enters into the picture, and because of his higher attraction to this woman, he ends up choosing to go with that woman. All right. Now, I've seen this play out to where he chose the other woman, eventually saw it wasn't it, tried to go back to the original woman, blew up in his face, the whole thing fell apart. The point here is, I'm just letting you know of real scenarios that happen and why it happens. But again, Let's just start with the dating example. If he just picks somebody else because he feels like he's more attracted to them, so be it. We've got to understand, and it goes back to what I said in the very beginning of this video. Just because he found someone more attractive than you, for him, does not mean you are not attractive. You see what I'm saying? It does not mean there isn't going to be another man who looks at you like you are amazing. It just means that, yes, for him, one, he put a higher value on physical attraction than maybe you have or would have liked for him to have. And it may just be a symptom of there wasn't a strong enough foundation there for him to want to remain with you, which means he was not best for you anyway. All right. So I know it can be a tough pill to swallow if you see this woman and to you, she looks like she's more beautiful. You may start to internalize that, but you got to reject that and understand, you know what? People are going to do what they're going to do. If he's not for you, you move on so you can receive who is for you. Oh, but before I move to the next point, let me say now, if the example is the one I gave about in a relationship and you now let yourself go, or let me rephrase that, life happens, all right, and your body has changed and you're presenting yourself differently, then this is a situation where you have to ask yourself, and I'm just going to be completely real with you. And again, some of y'all may not like me after this one. Are you happy with where you are and how you look? So if you're that woman, you've been with him a couple years, you put on some weight. If you are not happy with how you look, forget what he's thinking for a second. Though I do believe that we should be trying to look good for our partner, but make that clear. I believe in that wholeheartedly, men and women. But if you are not happy with it, then you've got to be willing to do something about it. I know that's easier said than done, but you've got to be willing to put in the work, because you don't want to impact the relationship in a negative way with this issue. Because understand is, at that point, if you're not happy with how you look, it's no longer just about how you look. Because I can guarantee you, you're not coming off as confident as you used to. You may feel a little bit more hesitant to be intimate. I have so many stories of women who, even though the man said, I am still highly attracted to you and I still desire you fully, because the woman did not like how she was looking, she did not want to be as intimate anymore. She felt self-conscious. If they were intimate, the lights had to be off for her. So it was causing a problem even when it wasn't a problem for him. But you better believe if it's a problem for him and it's a problem for you, it's gonna have a negative impact. So you gotta be willing to do something about it. On the flip side, if you can honestly say to me, I am happy with, I'm just throwing out an example, I am happy with these extra X amount of pounds, right? I'm good here. I feel good about myself. I'm still confident. But this man is no longer attracted to that. Then it's one of those things where, all right, then just let him go. Because there's no sense in, if you are happy, I'm not going to tell you to change it. If you're genuinely happy, feeling good, unless it's crossing a barrier where you've become unhealthy because of it, that's a whole different ballgame. But if you're going to say to me, no, I actually am happy like this, I love this, then I can't tell you to change that. So if he's not happy with it, it's just one of those things where you have to say, okay, you know what? I'm no longer what he initially signed up for, but I'm not trying to change none of this because I'm good here. So if he has to walk away, so be it. And either way, we don't need to internalize that or turn into something negative. It's an example of we grew apart. We went into two different directions. It is what it is. It's what happens sometimes. All right, so let's keep this moving. Another reason why a man chooses one woman over another is because you want commitment and he's not ready for it. So ultimately, and this might be a short one, it's exactly what I said. At the end of the day, you're dating this man, you want something official, he is unwilling to commit, and sometimes what happens is the man will try to hold on for as long as he can, dragging the situation out and all these things. But once again, it kind of goes back to the point of the woman who accepts his nonsense. If someone else comes into the fold, where she's willing to play the role that you're playing, possesses some of the things you possess, but is willing to not stress about a relationship, well, yeah, some men will move on to that other woman because it's easier there. I can still get the benefits I'm looking for without having to deal with stress or expectations of trying to be serious. All right. And the reality is, and I've said this in other videos, you know, some of you may say, well, if we're behaving in this boyfriend-girlfriend way, and I'm doing all these things for him, why can't he make me his girlfriend? We're pretty much acting like that. Well, because the key is when a man does not want to commit, it's two things he's trying to avoid. He's trying to avoid obligation, and he's trying to avoid eliminating all his other options. Plain and simple. So full commitment and obligation. So obligation is more so, well, now as your boyfriend, he has to step up to the plate more. Like I always give the example of like, if he's not your man and you need a favor, there's a little bit more leeway when it comes to what he chooses to do in that situation. When he's your man, there's more of an expectation of, you got to help your girl out. Like that's your woman. Okay. Not saying he shouldn't be willing to help you as the man who's been dating you. That's a whole different discussion, and we can, argue about that. But the point is, there is a greater obligation once he says, I am your man, you are my woman, this is official. All right. And then the eliminating other options is self-explanatory. Some men are just not prepared to stop playing the field. Whether it be because they're just not serious enough about you, whether it be they feel like they never had that opportunity before, because that sometimes does happen. Some men feel like, dang, I'm just now coming into my own and getting to a place where I have options, and now I meet this woman and it's like, damn, just jumping right into a relationship. Some of them feel like they want to experience that life for a second first. Whatever the reason being, your unwillingness to accept that, and not saying you should, could cause him to choose the other woman. But again, pretty much every point here is an example. If that man chooses the other woman, right, it just means, other than that first point I made, just means he's probably not for you, or he is not ready to be with you. And therefore, there's no point in trying to convince him otherwise or hold on for dear life, because all you're going to do is sell yourself short in the process. So not wanting to commit is definitely another reason why the man chooses the other woman. All right, now, before we continue real quick, if you want to get your personal questions answered by me, learn how to tap into your feminine energy, learn how to meet more relationship-minded, serious, good men. I stress good, serious-minded men. All right, hear God more clearly, tap into your purpose, all these wonderful things that will make your life better. Join my special coaching program today. Go to receivingmyblessings.com or click the link in the description or in the comments section. Thousands of women have joined. Thousands of women are getting all types of help and having their lives change. It's an amazing experience you do not want to miss out on. So again, click the link in the description or the comment section or go to receivingmyblessings.com. All right, so let's get with another reason that the man chooses another woman over you, or over another woman. And keep an open mind, hear me out, is because she knows how to make him feel better than you do. Okay? Now, here's what I want you to understand. I always say there are so many good women out there. Many of you watching this, I want to believe all of you watching this, are genuinely good women. However, a lot of you are not positive women, okay? And it's important to understand the difference. You may be a good person, have good intentions, you've been through things just like anybody else in life, but sometimes you're holding on to way too much negative energy. And whether you realize it or not, it comes off of you a lot, okay? So some of you will meet a man, you guys will date, there may be attraction there, there might be some good things there. But what you're overlooking is that you don't create an environment that feels super good to him. Now, one would think, oh, well, if that's the case, why wouldn't the man just leave you alone? Why would he even get with you if that's what's going on? Well, believe it or not, I can't tell you how many times I've had men DM me about situations and they would describe a very toxic relationship and they would end it by saying, how can I hold on to my woman? How can I make this work? Like, that's not enough sometimes to push them away. And there's various reasons. Sometimes because they're just as toxic. All right. So, it's hard for someone who has dysfunction within them to be able to call out or hold anyone else accountable for their dysfunction. Sometimes when we have that dysfunction within us, we are drawn to dysfunction. There could be fears. He could be enamored and infatuated with your beauty or other things that you possess that he desires greatly. There's all kinds of reasons. Okay. I have to even add, sometimes it's just that you provide certain benefits. Like, let's say you're that woman that's giving that man so much, even though he's not doing much for you. So it's just too beneficial for him to want to leave, despite the fact that the environment doesn't necessarily make him feel good. It just provides a lot of things for him. So he doesn't want to let go of all those benefits and resources. All that to say, so that causes these men to overlook the fact that you don't know how to make them feel good. And so I always say, listen, there's always women paying attention. There's always women that, you're a woman, you guys pick up on the smallest details. If this man's going to work and he's going to work with this very depressed attitude or very beaten down attitude, and this woman knows he has a woman at home, well, that's very likely that if she has interest in him, she will pick up on the idea that, okay, you are pouring into him an energy that is negatively impacting him. And if she wants to counter that, or she wants to now win his attention, she has to, as I just said, counter it. She has to now come in with the good stuff, and she starts pouring into him, and she starts, I hate to say the phrase, stroking his ego. She starts making him feel good. I'll say this. There was one time a man, I plan on writing a book one day all about infidelity. And there was a man that once said to me, make sure you tell women that not all cheating by men starts with sexual desire. That a lot of times it starts from an emotional place. And what he meant is, like, you could have this man who doesn't feel supported and loved and respected at home. Then you have this woman outside the home who starts to pour that into him, and he becomes emotionally drawn to her. It wasn't that he was sexually pursuing her or even initially sexually drawn to her. He's emotionally drawn to her, which then creates a desire or a willingness to want to have sex with her, because for a lot of men, intimacy is where they express their desire, their love, whatever the case may be. This is not to make it okay or to excuse it. It's just to explain what's going on. And that is why you'll see a lot of situations where sometimes the other woman that he chooses, right, is not even as attractive as his initial woman. You know what I'm saying? It's a drop off in looks, but it's because at that point he's valuing how she makes him feel more than anything. So it is important. And of course, I want you to understand, it isn't a one-sided thing that I promote as far as making your partner feel good, right? The man has to learn how to make his woman feel good, secure, all these things too. But I'm talking to you right now. And in talking to you, yes, I have to remind you that this is a real issue. And this is one of those times where you've got to take responsibility for, what am I pouring into my partner? Am I being that source of love, support, peace, all these wonderful things? Am I learning and accepting and embracing how to make him feel good consistently? Now, if your retaliation or your rebuttal is, well, if he wasn't doing X, Y, Z, or if he stepped up, or, blah, 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 right? Well, then my response is, why are you with him? Why are we waiting for him to choose another woman over you when you should be choosing your peace and your singleness over him? You see what I'm saying? If you're going to choose to still be there, despite whatever it is he's falling short with, then you still have to hold yourself accountable for how you're showing up. You don't get to use what he's doing as an excuse. If that's going to be your explanation, then you might as well leave. I always say, listen, there is no point in staying in a relationship if we're going to now act the fool. If we're going to give ourselves reasons why it's okay to come up short because our partner this, our partner that. No, either we're going to come correct or we don't come at all. Plain and simple. So I just highly encourage you. This is a real issue that happens. This is a real reason why some men choose the other woman over another. But I want you to fortify if you are in one or you end up in a relationship, I want you to strengthen it by making sure you are assessing what you are pouring into your partner. And I'll say one other thing. If again, you're saying to yourself, well, he's been doing this, or if he would do that, all right, I always say address it first and address it with the intention of, hey, I want to be better for you. I want to be able to pour these things into you. But what I need from you in return is X, Y, Z. And if you guys can agree to that, boom, great. If y'all can't get on the same page about it, then that's just more evidence that it's time to walk away. All right, so I actually had a few more to go, but I don't want to make the video too long, right? So we're going to have to do a part 2 at a later date. So I'm going to just end this with a bonus one. So we're going to have those top 5. Here's an extra one for this video. And again, there'll be another video in the future giving you some more explanation. But another common reason why a man chooses one woman over another is due to family pressure. Okay? And I'm going to throw in there even pressure from friends as well. So the unfortunate reality is that there are a lot of people out there who allow their family and friends to have way too much influence over them. And more specifically, their family. Like the friends it can happen, but this is really more specifically with the family. And I've seen and I've coached through situations where the man generally may want woman A, right? That's where his heart is at. But the family is like, no, you have to choose woman B. I've even had some scenarios where the family was like, yo, if you choose woman A, we're cutting you off financially. We're disowning you. Like they've taken it to very intense places. And it's just crazy the positions that some people are being put in by their families. And so, you know, it's sad because at the end of the day, like I'm going to always stand behind doing what's truly best for you, going where you know your heart belongs, where that connection is there, where true love is, and not let your family derail you. Because again, the problem is, yeah, so you in this scenario, your family doesn't cut you off. You get to keep them around because you chose person B, but person B can't make you happy like person A. And your family don't have to wake up next to person B every night. Your family doesn't have to have kids with person B. Your family doesn't have to deal with all the day-to-day issues that can come about when you choose to be with someone that isn't truly best for you. So I don't support it. You know what I'm saying? But I empathize. I feel sympathy towards the men who are in this position. Of course, this happens to women too, but we're talking about the men right now. It's just an unfortunate dynamic, but it does happen like that. And again, it's one of those things where as a woman, if it happens to you, like there isn't much you can do about it. You can only hope and pray that the man's going to make the choice that's truly best for the both of you, right? But you can't control how much control his family has over him. And depending on the age of the man, depending on the dependency, you know, whether it be financially or whatever that this individual has towards his family, there's so many factors. Or it's just for some, it may be as simple as like they hold on to their mothers. Let's focus real quick on the mother. It's not even a family thing. It's a mother thing. And the mother's like, I don't like her. And if you choose her, like we're done or we're going to have a problem. And he has this loyalty to his mother. He feels like, you know, he can't betray her. That's his mom. Or that, you know what, despite my feelings, I trust my mom knows best. Even though in some situations, the mom is speaking from a place of unresolved trauma and hurt. The mom is not giving an unbiased perspective, all right? The mom may be simply telling him don't choose woman A because she feels like with woman A, she will be replaced, all right? Whereas with woman B, she will maintain control in the situation and over her son. So if you're a man watching this, you got to be careful with that. You got to be mindful of, listen, she might be your mother. She may love you to death. She's still a human being. She's still flawed. Where are her intentions coming from? Why is she saying she does not like this woman? Why is she pushing you to the other woman over her? What's really behind this? Anyways, the point is, this is something that happens. It's something to be aware of. But at the end of the day, you got to trust God. And if this man, for whatever reason, chooses another woman over you, then trust that either the timing is just not right, or God has something bigger and better waiting for you, and a man who will love, cherish, and choose only you. Hey, thank you for watching this video. Be sure to check this one out right here, and I'll see you there. To pull out of you or receive from you is also hindered, all right? Because what creates more bonding than two people who can do for each other? If two people are just living together, doing for themselves, it's like they're roommates. They're not really pouring into each other. So therefore, there is no real romantic relationship occurring there.